Part 1. Absence makes the heart go wander, she said. Scientifically proven that memories fade and morph over time, these combobulations and disfigurations that diverge from the truth like a spider plant. You have been absent for so long, I can no longer bring your face to my mind, she said. With a blindfold over her eyes, she stumbles, and the gargoyles leering over her are frozen in postures of extending their grotesque limbs towards her, hands curved into claws to trap her. And her hair gets twisted and knotted around these black nails like a promise with small print, and it rips, yet she keeps walking. If only she took the time to entangle herself, she might realize that she walked the same way yesterday. When there is nothing left but the red and nakedness of her head, she will notice that the pain is gone. But so is her hair. Part 2. I love taking things apart. I love dissecting and dismembering things because I love to destroy them. And the sound of snapping brand new crayons was so satisfying that all of my pictures remained colorless. I never made it to the trophy case I called the fridge. Part 3. Absence makes the heart go wander, she said. Why have you left me alone with the monsters under my bed? Why have you left me and seem indifferent to my suffering? Why do you take away everything that I love? You say that you have plans for me, plans to give me a hope and a future, and I want to believe that, but my confidence in you is waning like a Cheshire cat moon, she said. There is so much loud silence between us, and I'm starting to suffocate from all the elephants in the room that are separating me from you. We interact like a ballet that hasn't been choreographed, and I do everything in my power not to step on your toes, because you have surrounded yourself with eggshells, my dear. And there's no way I can get closer to you without causing damage. Your silence is a constant reminder of all the toes that I've stepped on and all of the many ways that you have found me to be lacking. You were gracious enough not to rub these faults in my face, but that doesn't mean you would ever forget. An elephant never forgets. Part 4. I agree with Simon and Garfunkel, a rock feels no pain and an island never cries, but you have shaken this island and held this rock in your hands, and you managed to melt the hardness in my chest that was heavy and dead and untrusting. I felt scorched in the flames of past lovers who had burned me, but you stood in caring silence while I cried, and you told me it didn't matter. I had a habit of giving away pieces of myself like a salesman hands out business cards. My heart guts had been ripped out and stomped on so many times, I eventually picked up this bloody, pulpy, disgusting mess, and I put it in bubble wrap. I then placed it in a box inside another box and hid it under my bed with the dust bunnies because I didn't want anyone to find it, especially you. Because the dirt under my nails and the baldness of my head are embarrassing. And I don't want you to see me like this because you know all the things that I've been doing wrong. My pride and false idols have been my motivation for elevation in an earthly world that will eventually return to dust, and I admit that I have been unfaithful to you. And I want to give you my heart, but I don't think you would want it. Part 5. They told me the night I was born was the night my dad fell into a different kind of love. That in me he saw a different kind of beauty he didn't realize existed, and he knew staring at this noisy, red, and wrinkly bundle of noise, he would never forget it. And I have come to realize that you also see that same beauty in me, but it is magnified by 1,000, by infinity, by eternity. I am a living testament of your love. You owe me nothing. Everything you do for me is out of mercy and grace. It has been ingrained into me since I was small that my dad's love for me is endless. I am his little girl, and because of that, there is nothing he wouldn't do for me, and there's nothing I could ever do or say that would make him stop loving me. And I think of every word I've said in anger, every door I've slammed in hate, and it breaks my heart to think of all of the ways that I have broken his. And then I think of you. And if I am so convinced and ingrained in my Father's earthly love for me, and then you are not bound by these earthly limitations, when you understand what infinity means, when you realize what loving somebody forever actually means, how could I ever doubt that you would for 1 second ever stop loving me when you made me in your image, when you died for me? And I see that I come crawling back to you over and over again like the prodigal son that I am, head bowed in shame, awaiting my punishment, awaiting your judgment, awaiting for you to tell me that I have messed up one time too many. But you, like the father that you are, you pat the stubble on my head, and you lift me up, and you dress me in robes and put rings on my fingers, and you pull out my heart from behind my ear like a magic trick, and you say, "Here it is. It's okay. If you give it to me, you won't lose it. If you give it to me, it won't be broken. If you give it to me, you will realize that I am worth it." How deep is the Father's love for us? How vast and without measure, that he would give his only Son to make a wretch his treasure. God, I ask that you make me like an elephant, so that I will never forget your face in my mind. Absence makes the heart go wander, she said, but you will never leave me, so that shouldn't be a problem.